Ellen DeGeneres had heard countless inspiring stories over her decades-long career, from unexpected acts of kindness to life-changing generosity, but nothing could have prepared her for the afternoon when a routine interview about overcoming adversity would put her in the impossible position of protecting someone's desire for anonymity while witnessing another person's desperate need to express gratitude. What started as a celebration of resilience became an emotionally complex situation that would test Ellen's judgment about when to honor secrets and when to facilitate healing connections. It was a serene Tuesday afternoon at the Ellen Studios, and the atmosphere was particularly warm as they prepared for what was scheduled to be an uplifting episode featuring stories of hope and community support. Ellen, wearing a soft emerald blazer over cream-colored pants, was looking forward to interviewing David Chen, a 28-year-old aspiring veterinarian whose journey through medical school had captured the attention of local news outlets and social media. David's story was exactly the kind of inspiring narrative that Ellen loved to feature, someone who had overcome seemingly impossible odds through determination and the unexpected kindness of others. He had grown up in foster care, aged out of the system at 18 with no family support, and had been working multiple jobs while putting himself through college and veterinary school. What made his story particularly remarkable was the mysterious benefactor who had been helping him for the past 6 years. Our next guest is about to graduate from veterinary school, but his path there wasn't easy, Ellen announced to the enthusiastic studio audience. He's worked his way through college and vet school with no family support, but he's had some unexpected help along the way. Please welcome David Chen. The audience erupted in warm applause as David walked onto the stage with a humble smile and obvious nervousness about being there. He was a young man of medium height, with kind eyes and a gentle demeanor, wearing a simple navy suit that suggested someone who didn't often have occasion to dress formally. His movements were careful and respectful, carrying himself with the quiet dignity of someone who had learned to be grateful for every opportunity. "David, welcome to the show," Ellen said warmly, embracing her guest before they both sat down. "Thank you so much for having me, Ellen. This is incredible," David replied, his voice carrying a slight tremor of excitement and disbelief. "Tell us about your journey. You're about to become a veterinarian, which is amazing, but you've had to overcome a lot of challenges to get here." David's face grew serious as he began sharing his story. "Well, Ellen, I grew up in the foster care system, moving between different homes throughout my childhood. When I turned 18, I aged out with basically nothing, no family, no financial support, no real guidance about how to navigate college or career planning. That must have been incredibly scary," Ellen said with genuine empathy. "It was terrifying," David admitted. "I was working 3 jobs just to afford a tiny apartment and community college classes. I had this dream of becoming a veterinarian, but it seemed impossible. Vet school is expensive, and I didn't have anyone to co-sign loans or provide financial support." Ellen noticed that as David talked about his early struggles, his expression carried both pain from those difficult memories and something else, a kind of wonder that suggested his story had taken an unexpected turn. "But something changed for you," Ellen prompted gently. David's face lit up with a mixture of gratitude and puzzlement. "Yes, something incredible happened. During my 2nd year of community college, I was really struggling. I was behind on rent, couldn't afford textbooks, and was seriously considering dropping out to work full-time. What happened? I came home one day and found an envelope under my door. Inside was $2,000 in cash, and a note that just said, 'For your education. Don't give up on your dreams. A friend.'" Ellen felt a chill of recognition run down her spine, though she tried to keep her expression neutral. "That's amazing, David. Do you have any idea who it was from?" "None whatsoever," David said, shaking his head. "I asked my neighbors, my landlord, my professors. Nobody knew anything about it. It was like it appeared out of nowhere." Ellen shifted slightly in her chair, feeling the weight of knowledge she couldn't yet share. "And was that the only time this mysterious benefactor helped you?" David laughed with obvious amazement. "Oh no, Ellen. That was just the beginning. Over the next 6 years, whenever I was facing a major financial crisis, somehow help would appear. When I needed to transfer to a 4-year university, money for tuition appeared. When I was applying to vet school and couldn't afford application fees, those were covered. When my car broke down and I couldn't afford repairs, someone anonymously paid the mechanic. The audience was listening with rapt attention, clearly moved by David's story of mysterious generosity. Ellen felt her heart warming at the details, even as she struggled with her knowledge of the benefactor's identity. David, how much help are we talking about over these 6 years? Ellen, someone has given me over $80,000 throughout my education. $80,000 from someone I've never met, never been able to thank, never even been able to send a Christmas card to. Ellen felt tears forming in her eyes as she listened to David's gratitude. How has this affected you emotionally, David, receiving this kind of help from someone you can't identify? David's voice became thick with emotion. Ellen, it's changed everything about how I see the world. This person asked for nothing in return, expected no recognition, didn't even want to be thanked. They just saw someone struggling and decided to help. It's taught me that there are angels walking among us. Ellen glanced toward the side of the stage where she knew Dr. Patricia Williams was standing, watching the interview. Dr. Williams was a successful veterinarian in her 60s who had been a guest on Ellen's show 3 years earlier. During their conversation, she had mentioned her desire to help young people pursue veterinary careers, especially those from difficult backgrounds. After the show, she had approached Ellen privately and asked for help identifying worthy recipients for anonymous scholarships. Ellen had connected Dr. Williams with several organizations that worked with former foster youth, and David had been one of the first recipients of her generosity. Dr. Williams had specifically requested that her identity remain secret, wanting her gifts to be purely altruistic, without any expectation of recognition or relationship. David, what would you say to your mysterious benefactor if you could speak to them right now? Ellen asked, aware that Dr. Williams was listening from just off stage. David looked directly into the camera, his eyes filling with tears. I would say thank you for seeing potential in me when I couldn't see it in myself. Thank you for believing that my dreams were worth investing in. But most of all, thank you for teaching me what real generosity looks like. Because of you, I'm going to spend my career helping animals, but I'm also going to find ways to help other kids like me who are struggling to afford their education. Ellen felt the weight of her dilemma pressing down on her. She could see Dr. Williams wiping tears from her eyes off stage, clearly moved by David's gratitude, but also clearly committed to maintaining her anonymity. Ellen had to make a decision about whether to honor Dr. Williams' wishes or facilitate the connection that David so desperately wanted. David, what's been the hardest part about not knowing who your benefactor is? The hardest part is not being able to say thank you properly, David said immediately. This person has given me my entire future, and I can't even send them a graduation invitation. I lie awake at night, wondering if they know how much their gifts meant, if they understand that they literally saved my life. Ellen made a careful decision about how to proceed. David, what if I told you that your benefactor knows about your gratitude? What if they've been following your progress and are incredibly proud of how you've used their gifts? David's eyes widened with hope. Do you know who it is, Ellen? Ellen paused, feeling the complexity of the situation. David, I can't share someone's identity if they've chosen to remain anonymous. But I can tell you that your benefactor is someone who believes deeply in the power of education and the potential of young people who are willing to work hard for their dreams. Are they here? David asked, looking around the studio with desperate hope. Could I at least say thank you in person, even if I don't know their name? Ellen felt her heart breaking as she watched David's earnest desire to express gratitude clash with Dr. Williams' equally valid desire for privacy. David, what if your benefactor is someone who finds their greatest joy in giving anonymously? What if being thanked publicly would actually take away from their satisfaction in helping you? David considered this perspective thoughtfully. I never thought about it that way. I guess I assumed everyone would want to be thanked. Some people find their greatest fulfillment in giving without expectation of recognition or gratitude, Ellen explained gently. For them, knowing that their gift made a difference is enough reward. Ellen turned to address the cameras, aware that Dr. Williams was listening. Sometimes the most beautiful acts of generosity are the ones that remain secret. The people who give anonymously do so because they want their gifts to be purely about helping others, not about receiving praise or building relationships. She looked back at David. David, your benefactor chose to remain anonymous for a reason. Maybe the best way to honor their gift isn't to find them and thank them, but to use what they've given you to help others in the same way. David nodded slowly, processing this new perspective. You mean pay it forward instead of paying it back? Exactly, Ellen said, feeling relief that David was understanding the complexity of the situation. David, what if your benefactor's greatest reward would be knowing that their gift inspired you to help others in similar situations? That actually makes sense, David said, his expression brightening. Instead of trying to thank them, I could honor them by becoming someone who helps other kids like me. Ellen felt a wave of gratitude for David's emotional maturity and understanding. David, I think that's exactly what they would want to hear. David looked back into the camera. If you're watching, my mysterious benefactor, I want you to know that your gift didn't just pay for my education, it taught me what generosity really means. And I promise you that I'm going to spend my life paying it forward. I'm going to help other kids who are aging out of foster care pursue their dreams, just like you helped me. Ellen glanced off stage and saw Dr. Williams nodding with obvious satisfaction, tears of joy streaming down her face. The decision to remain anonymous had been validated by David's mature response. David, I have something for you, Ellen said, making a decision that felt right for everyone involved. I know your mysterious benefactor can't be here publicly, but I can tell you that someone who cares about your future has asked me to give you this. Ellen reached under her chair and pulled out an envelope. This is from someone who has been following your progress and wants to help you start your veterinary career. David opened the envelope with trembling hands and found a check for $25,000 along with a note that read, "For your clinic startup costs. The world needs compassionate veterinarians. Congratulations on following your dreams." David began crying as he read the note. Ellen, this is too much. I can't accept this. Yes, you can, Ellen said firmly. And David, this gift comes with only one condition, that you promise to help other young people pursue their dreams when you're in a position to do so. I promise, David said through his tears. I absolutely promise. Ellen addressed the audience one final time. What we've witnessed today is the beautiful cycle of generosity. Someone helped David anonymously, asking for nothing in return. Now David is committed to helping others in the same way. This is how kindness multiplies and creates lasting change. After the show, Ellen spoke privately with Dr. Williams, who expressed her deep satisfaction with how the situation had been handled. Ellen, you did exactly the right thing, Dr. Williams said. Seeing David's maturity and his commitment to helping others, that's worth more to me than any thank you could ever be. Are you sure you don't want to meet him? Ellen asked. He seems like such a wonderful young man. Dr. Williams smiled. I'm sure. The beauty of anonymous giving is that it's purely about the recipient's success, not about building relationships or receiving gratitude. David is going to do amazing things, and knowing I had a small part in that is all the reward I need. 6 months later, Ellen received an update from David. He had graduated at the top of his veterinary class and had started working at a clinic that provided low-cost services to low-income families. He had also established a scholarship fund for former foster youth pursuing veterinary careers. Ellen, David wrote in his letter, I understand now why my benefactor chose to remain anonymous. The gift was never about them. It was about the potential they saw in me and their faith that I would use their help to help others. I'm proud to say that I'm now providing anonymous support to 3 young people who are working toward their dreams, just like someone once did for me. Ellen kept David's letter in her desk drawer as a reminder that sometimes the greatest wisdom lies in knowing when to protect someone's privacy and when to facilitate their healing. The most beautiful gifts are often the ones that remain secret, creating ripples of kindness that extend far beyond the original act of generosity. Because sometimes the most meaningful connections happen without direct contact, and sometimes the greatest thank you is not words of gratitude, but a life lived in service to others who need the same kind of help we once received.